Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Kingdom Courtship Live. We are your hosts for this evening. My name is Salim Wright.
I am Raisha, right?
So we want to thank you guys for tuning in to another episode. If this is your first time watching us, please make sure you like this page. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and on, where else are we on? Facebook.
Yeah, we're on here. Obviously.
Yeah. Subscribe to us on YouTube.
Yes.
Kingdom Courtship. All right, so we are...
And Instagram, did you say that?
Yeah, Instagram.
Okay.
Always about the gram, right?
All right.
So, grateful.
Hey, Sharon.
Grateful to God to be on. And appreciate everybody getting on.
Yes.
Oh, you doing a watch party?
Hey, Niecy Poo. Huh?
I thought you were doing a watch party.
Am I? How do I do that? Hit share?
There you go.
Watch party. All right, doing a watch party. Started. Bam.
Wow, that's hot.
That's really hot.
Yes. So, God has been good.
God has been amazing.
We appreciate you guys getting on to watch Kingdom Courtship Live. And things have been going really well. Mm-hmm. We are still working on our book. Our book will be coming out soon. We praise God for that.
We are excited about that.
Yes, we are grinding.
We've
to
been
get
working.
This thing,
Listen, we've been working
done.
around the clock.
Yeah,
literally.
we're still going on tour. Still looking for places to go. So,
Hi, Doris.
if you are
Likewise.
if you're outside, I would say if you're in Delaware, we want to come to Delaware. So, if you have a ministry or a church in Delaware,
Said one of the kids. They wait till we go live.
we do want to come to Delaware
for them to go live. You get it?
Yeah. So we're working on other places to go. We have some possible opportunities up north and out west, and so God is just good like that. Also, come May.
Somebody got off the bed.
Come May. Children. All right. Come May, we'll be in Princeton, New Jersey for Kingdom Outreach. Their Converge conference. It's a 3-day conference, I believe Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Yes, Kim, we miss you guys too. We're going to come back to Norfolk, hold it down. But we're going to be at the Converge conference in Princeton, New Jersey with the Kingdom Outreach Center, Pastor Desmond Wiggins and Lady Yannick Wiggins. So we'll be there with them. So you guys can come and check that out. I believe you can go to Kingdom Outreach Center, their website. I'm not sure the exact website, but nonetheless, if you want to come to Princeton to hang out with us for Friday and Saturday, please do so. It's going to be a good time. So we're still on the move. We're still on the move.
Hi,
and
Felicia.
God has just been
Kayla.
super, super good to us.
He has.
Yes, he has. And so tonight,
And shout out to the women who were at that prayer on Friday night.
oh yeah, we're talk about it. Talk about it. I wasn't there. I ain't bitter.
Joanne. Man, it was amazing.
Amen.
It was a women's call to pray, and it was held at Bethel Northeast.
Shout out to B&E.
Yeah, shout out to my sis, Lady Shantae Baldwin, and my new sis, Nisha. Man, Adrian, yes. Look, she said, "My God, I'm still." Listen. As my sis says, stay tuned. Like, you just can't even describe it. I can't sit here and talk about how it went other than fire. Yes. Woo shabba. All right.
Well, man, we had men's ministry on Saturday. That was cool.
Wasn't like Friday.
We got
night.
together.
It wasn't like Friday nights. Sorry.
What?
Sorry.
Well, I'm glad the ladies
Yeah. All right.
had a good time.
Are you ready?
Yeah, tonight we're talking about signs of cheating. Signs of cheating, all right? How to recognize it, how to understand it. So, babe, how does that put you on the spot? Let me ask you a question.
Have I ever been cheated on?
Have you ever been cheated on?
Actually, that was going to be my question for you.
Oh, where?
Because I said to myself, I'm going to get him back, and I'm going to ask him first because he always asks me. And so, Salim, have you ever been cheated on?
That's a good question. I really don't know.
You don't know?
I really don't know.
Okay.
If I was ever cheated on.
Oh yeah,
possibly.
I called him.
Ooh.
Yeah.
God bless you. So, have you ever cheated on someone?
Yeah. Not you though.
Hey, this whole iPad, this whole broadcast about to be over. Yo, it's about to be Kingdom Courtship Get Live real quick. Thank you, Jesus.
Oh, gosh.
Not me though. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
No.
So why? Okay, so yeah, I'm pretty sure you can't. I mean, I guess you could figure out why he cheated, but why did you cheat? Like, what made you? What made you cheat?
What made me cheat?
Yeah, what was your reason?
I was in high school and
Oh, that don't count.
sorry, that doesn't count.
I mean,
You
it
asked
counts.
if
I did
asked.
ask, but
So why did I do it? I don't know. You get bored. I guess I got bored after a while. I don't know. That was how many years ago? I really don't know.
like 10 years ago.
Bored, maybe because that's just what everybody else
I went over there and
did.
missed that.
Yeah, I just shouted you out, sis, about the Friday night prayer. But anyway, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
How about you? Did you ever cheat?
Never cheated. I was a serial monogamous person.
Okay. Good
So
for you.
I don't know if it was good, but
Yeah, good for me.
but no, I never cheated. I never cheated. Never saw the point of cheating. I'd much rather just
There's
break
a
up.
bad stigma that women don't cheat.
Break up with
That's,
you.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a
women,
lie.
Women cheat.
That's a lie. Okay.
Yeah.
But this is what I've discovered, especially on this side of being a believer, when it comes to cheating, right?
You can go right into it.
You want to?
All right. So first, before you do that,
Yeah.
I know we did talk about, like, say quick. Okay, yeah, because we could kind of weave
Go ahead.
it
No,
in.
say what you want to say. Your
Because
piece.
you were going to talk about some of the signs of
Yeah, I'm going
So
to get
we're
to
gonna weave
the.
on
I'm
it.
going to get to the signs of cheating.
All right.
So
So y'all ready for this bombshell?
this is the bombshell, right?
There's a bombshell, guys, about this topic. Are y'all ready? Let me see. Who's ready? Who's ready? They ain't ready yet, babe. They ain't ready. They ain't ready for the bombshell.
Yeah. This is the reality, right?
All right, here's the reality. Y'all ready?
There's no such thing as cheating.
Why not?
There's not. Like there's no. It's a mirage, right? It's not a real thing. Now, there is something called adultery, right? But that's only applicable to marriage. Outside of that, it's not cheating. It's just you doing whatever you want to do. And when you talk about boyfriend and girlfriends and relationships and all this stuff, there's so much myth around the expectations of a boyfriend. When you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, you should never expect them to be your husband or wife. When you say, this is my boyfriend, this is my girlfriend, that's essentially what they are. They are not obligated to keep a covenant with you. They're not obligated to marry you. They're not obligated to be faithful to you. There's nothing that mandates from doing that. Even if you be like, look, you my boyfriend, you with me. No obligation, right? So Kim asked a good question. What about cheating? What about cheating during courtship? Now because in courtship, they're not your boyfriend, they're not your girlfriend. Right. If they make a decision to get into a relationship with someone else, then you're no longer courting. It's pretty much over at that point. But if you're courting, then that will not happen. Because before you can court, there has to be so much confirmation of God. And I'm not talking about this whole mythical, like the heavens opened up. No, there has to be confirmation after confirmation after confirmation, saying this person I'm in courtship with is a person I'm going to marry, right? Now the reason why we say there's no such thing as cheating, because you can't really put cheating into a category that really holds weight, because it's only involved in boyfriend-girlfriend relationships. It's just, but with a boyfriend or girlfriend, we can't expect them to do what, like I can't expect my girlfriend to be faithful to me in the way I expect my wife to be, because as we always say, like girlfriend, there's no what obligations does a girlfriend have to really hold to a covenant, right? What obligations does a boyfriend have to really hold to a covenant? There's none there.
But in the courtship process,
Right.
So how would you define? How would we define or what? Oh, so you're saying it's still not called cheating?
No, I would say if you're courting someone and that individual decides to romantically involve themselves with someone else, they've just ended the friendship, right? Because in your courting process, this friend is now on a fast track to being your husband or wife. So if they do something to violate the track, then what they're essentially saying is, I don't want to be friends with you anymore, right? But y'all can't be divorced, right? Because that's not your husband or your wife yet. You may have thought that this was my husband, that this was my wife, this is the person I'm supposed to marry. But clearly, and courtship safeguards you too, because you understand, like, look, we're not married yet, and we're still developing this intimate friendship, right? So it's an open process. It involves accountability. It involves other people, right? And other people will tell you the signs of who you're getting involved with, right? And that's kind of our transition to talk about the signs that make someone more likely to commit adultery when you marry them.
That's good.
Right.
All right.
So I'm going to define.
So you'll see these traits.
Yeah, you'll see these traits in a person. You'll see these traits in a person. Before there's like romantic involvement, before anything, right? If you stick to being friends with people of the same sex, people of the opposite sex, you'll see these signs, and that will let you know, okay, red flag, red flag, red flag. That's not the individual that I want to pursue intimate friendship with. Right. They may be an associate, they may be an acquaintance, they may be a cool friend, but I'm not going to go any deeper in this friendship process because you have these signs, right? And I haven't seen God change you for it to be different. Right. So the word adultery is related to the word adulterate, which means to render something poorer in quality by adding another substance.
Wow.
Right. So adultery is the adulteration of marriage by the addition of a third person.
Wow.
So adultery technically is voluntary sexual activity between a married person and someone other than his or her spouse. Right. So you lessen the quality of the substance by adding something else. Right. When we talk about adultery. So you lessen the quality of the marriage by adding a third person. Right. And so that's what adultery is. And so
that's right. What Kim said.
Yeah, Kim, absolutely.
We're so used to the world defining.
The world defines relationships. And we always say all the time, you can't put husband or wife expectations on a boyfriend or girlfriend because those titles were not strong enough to handle that type of responsibility. So, for example, you have ladies upset that he won't come over and take your trash out. He's not your husband.
Or he won't buy you
won't buy you something for your birthday. Or he won't wine and dine. He's not obligated to do any of that. Right, and she's not obligated to do anything that'll like. So the world tells us that once you get a boyfriend or girlfriend, there's supposed to be sex.
Right.
Well, sex is a right of the married, not a privilege of those who feel they can handle it. It's not. It's a right. It's a right and a privilege, but it's a right before it's a privilege, and it's a right that God has said this occurs in marriage. But with especially adult boyfriend and girlfriend relationships, we have this expectation that we're just supposed to have sex. Well, that's not how God defines it. That's how the world defines it. Right. And so we know how the world defines it. We just struggle because we're raised in a worldly system to understand how God has defined it. So that's what we're hoping to encourage you guys is to think biblically about your relationships and not looking at it through the prism of the world. And so first thing you need to see is a sign of someone who's prone to commit adultery, right? They are highly critical in public, right? They're highly critical in public of you, right? Or in private or online, okay? This person is extremely critical, right? That's someone who tends to always point out your flaws, always have a negative commentary about you,
or anything pertaining
to you. They never encourage you. They never compliment you. They never try to lift you up. And I'm not talking about someone giving you constructive feedback, but I mean, every time you accomplish something, this person is extremely critical.
Find a ways
to tear you down, right? And that's someone who has the signs of someone that's prone to adultery, because the one of the things that's important in your relationships is that there's encouragement, right? That there's encouragement. And this doesn't mean you overlook the flaws, right? But what it means is that the person is more prone to cheer you on as opposed to break you down. And that typically happens when people get in relationships, speaking of how the world, as far as boyfriend-girlfriend relationships, this person is always critical, always negative. Every time you get your hair done, he never compliments you. He's always talking about your outfit.
Or if you do get it done, it's like, well, why'd you get it like that?
Everything is just extremely critical or negative. And that's an individual that's more prone to step outside because they can't find you to be the ideal of what they want. So that's a sign right there. Another sign is someone who lacks affection. Right? Someone who lacks affection. You know, they just don't know how to be affectionate or don't want to be affectionate. They are more prone to step outside of the marriage because they may find someone who's able to provide affection for them. You may see them being affectionate in other ways, but then when you try to be affectionate, it's like they're just like, no, get away from me, yada yada yada. And that's not a good thing, right? It's hard to be in relationship with people that don't want any type of affection, right? Because affection isn't just physical, right? It's also emotional, it's mental, it's spiritual, right? It talks about it's the tenderness aspect of it, right?
Yeah, but that's true too, because or a lot of times if they're lacking affection in that relationship, the other thing is they could be getting it somewhere else. You know, most times it's like, wait, he won't touch me, he won't, or she won't do this with me, or we used to do X, Y, and Z, and that's a telltale sign that, hey, it could be coming, you know, they could be fulfilling themselves elsewhere.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that lack of affection or the lack to want to become affectionate,
right,
with you in particular, right, is a telltale sign. If this person is your intimate friend, right, and we're speaking about, you know, the courtship process, this is your intimate friend, and they never want to hold hands with you, right? It's like they never want to give you a hug. Like they never, like what's up? Like this is not a good. It's not a good sign because you're gonna get your affection from somewhere,
right?
So that's just a red flag to pay attention to. Or if the person is cold and callous, right? And you may have people in your life right now that's extremely cold. I don't necessarily think that's maybe the person you want to be, you know, thinking about. I want to marry this person, and they're cold.
And
that's
you know
not,
what?
you know.
The sad part is, Salim, is that we find people, when people are like that, because they want the relationship or the idea of a relationship so badly that they still try to press through all these signs and, you know, like you say, the red flags and everything that we see. But it's because I want this so bad. I want somebody to love me. I want somebody to validate me, that we ignore these signs. We know they're there. We ignore it, and we try to just keep moving past as if it's going to somehow someday change. And then
no. I think another thing that's a sign is that if you're interested in someone and their unwillingness to surround you with for you to be surrounded with people you know, or their unwillingness to have you surrounded with people that they know, in a sense that they never want you to be involved in their world. Right?
So you don't know none of their friends.
You don't know any of their friends.
You don't know any of their family.
None of their family members.
She was in a relationship like that. I'm like, well, what's your real name? You know, seriously. I'm like, well, how come you don't, you know, take me? How come I don't know your mom?
Right.
How come I don't know who your dad is?
Right.
A cousin? Like somebody.
Right.
Come on, how many of us have been in relationships where we never got to meet the people who were closest to that person? That's a problem.
And this is why we advocate courtship, because in dating, you can get away with that. Yeah. You can date someone 3-4 years and never meet anybody close to them. And you'll think it's the best relationship ever. Right? And people start asking you questions like, well, have you met their family? No, not yet. Have you met their mom? No, not yet. Have you met their siblings? No, not yet. Like, well, how long y'all been going out? Oh, we've been together. You know, he took me here. We went on this trip. We did this, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that happens too much in dating sets you up where I don't have to include anybody else but me and you.
But me and you.
Dating focus on exclusivity. Like, you're mine, I'm yours, period. Like,
That's it.
why does anybody else have to be involved? Nobody needs to hold us accountable. Nobody needs to be involved in this relationship. I don't like them. You don't like them. It's just us. It's me and you, boo.
Dangerous.
Me and you against the world. And it's like, hold up.
So we were talking about this too, because when people start dating, because the friends that
everything get cut off.
Everything get cut off. It's like, wait a minute, I used to hang out with you all the time.
I can't
We used to
reach
go to the mall.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even, you're not even returning my texts. Like, you're so caught up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're so caught up, in this relationship because it's just focused on you and him.
Yep. Absolutely, Kim. I do remember that story where you talked about how you looked. You got dressed up and looked nice, and he just said you had a nice purse, and it's like, hold up, bro. Like, what are you looking at? She got herself all dialed up, and you talking about her purse. So absolutely, and so that's a sign too. If you have somebody who's important in your life, and they're unwilling to involve you in their world, they're unwilling to bring you in the fold, right?
Right.
If you court, that's impossible. It's impossible to court with just sole exclusivity between you and this person.
Right.
It's not courtship, right?
Right.
You need to know family from the beginning. All right, you need to know friends from the beginning, because why? This is another friend that's added to the fold, right? And you want people to approve of this person. Bring your friend to the cookout, bring them to church, bring them to the reunion, and then have honest conversations. Yes, have honest conversations with your people about this friend. Because what happens a lot of times, people get a friend.
Hold on. You said about have honest conversations. People are afraid of that.
People don't want the truth.
They
don't want the truth.
No, they just want what they want.
You're Jack Nicholson.
Very rare do you see somebody like, all right, just tell me that.
What's the deal? Let me know.
Yeah. And even sometimes when people, we had a situation where somebody was like, I really want to know the truth, but
you don't know. I don't ask
like,
me.
do you really want to know? Do you
Please.
really want to know?
Y'all like, what you think of him? You want me to be honest?
Want to be honest?
Or you
what you
want
think
to
of
feel
her
good after this conversation?
Yeah, but even in knowing, and sometimes even in hearing and knowing the truth, when you want something so badly, it's like, no, you just saying that because, like, you'll find a way to still combat the truth. Not all the time, but
a lot of times.
more than.
Yeah. And this transitions to the next one, right?
Okay.
A sign that someone is more prone to adultery. They have pride. Extremely stubborn pride. Somebody with stubborn pride always believes their way is the right way. Right? They just swear up and down it's the right way. And this is the thing. This is why I love teaching about courtship. Because I always come across those people that swear up and down dating actually works.
Okay.
They be like, look, my parents dated and look how their marriage turned out.
My grandparents
and I'm like,
dated, look how they turned out.
The divorce rate, United States of America is in the 98th percentile of divorce. 98th percentile of divorce in the world, right? Divorce, you're more likely to get divorced than you are to, graduate from college. Like, the statistics are alarming. How do you think people go about the process of getting married? They date. So if the process leads to something faulty, why do we automatically assume the process works? The process does not work. Dating does not work. It hasn't worked in this country for centuries, and people are still doing it. And then when you tell them about something different, they want to fight you and argue you down. I'm like, look, the statistics let us know dating is a failed process. It does not work, right? So when God says, look, this is a better biblical way, and you're like, I don't want to do that. I don't believe all that. Okay. Then you show, like, you may find some good, but statistically you're in the it's not working out.
The danger in that, Celine,
with the pride.
Yes, with that is when we go off of, well, grandma did it, my auntie and uncle did it, without really knowing the truth behind that relationship. Because a lot of times Auntie ain't telling you what it really was. Grandma ain't telling you what it really was. Now when Grandpa passed away, she might tell you something.
Yeah, she tell you something at the funeral. Grandma tell you what
right,
it is
yeah,
at the
he
funeral.
used to. And I mean, I can say I've heard some stories where it's like, hey, this is what really went on. But I stayed because of my kids, or I stayed because of this. So we can't take that and those people and automatically assume that because it looked good now, 30 years later, that it's going to be okay for you.
Come on, preacher.
I'm just saying, right?
Come on, preacher.
I'm just saying, like, we have to really know.
And this is what I've discovered too, right? If you research people who were married like 50, 60 years, if you talk to them about their process, you pull out courtship. You pull it out. They may not have had a book. They may have not had but you pull out, right? Especially when you talk about Christian marriages that have stood the test of time. You talk to them. Did you guys have sex before you got married? No. You talk to them like, well, who was really involved in your dating? Because it was all they had was dating process.
Right.
They'll tell you our parents. We didn't spend much alone time together, right? They'll and like, oh, that's courtship. Absolutely.
Right.
It's biblical principles needed. I know biblical principles needed to build a solid foundation that you can be married off of, right? And so it's not rocket science. It's not like we're out here teaching something that it seems crazy because the foolish things of
God
the world. He used the foolish things of the world to confound the wise, and that's essentially why we get looks and we get curses and we get people mad and telling us, well, I'm not going to court, I'm going to date and I'll be all right. You go ahead and do your thing. God bless you. Do your thing, okay?
Do it.
There's a better way, but hey, you take the lesser way and we'll see how it works out. Doesn't mean you're going to have a terrible marriage, right? But you're setting yourself up more for divorce because you're doing the thing that actually leads to more divorce. The dating process prepares more people for divorce than for marriage because statistically it doesn't work out.
I'm blaming my singleness on dating. As a woman of a certain age, I know real ones. Maybe some somewhere wanting to invest in something different. Courtship. I'm not mad about it, but my peoples are stuck.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. You have to be the one to have a standard for yourself, right? And it only takes one. Like, you're not looking to marry every man. You're looking to marry one man that God has for you. And if he's a man of God, he's willing to conform to biblical principles, right? He's not going to pursue you unless his mindset is, I want to marry you. That's a biblical principle. Anytime you see men in the Bible that pursued women, it was to marry them, not to play with them, not to toy them, not to manipulate them. But it was like, like Isaac, I'm pursuing Rebecca.
I ain't just gonna go fast, like not to play with them, not to toy with them, like yeah.
It was to marry them, right?
Wow.
And that's one of the main principles in courtship. I begin this process hoping and willing and desiring to marry you, right? And I'm doing what I need to do to marry you, right?
Wow,
I'm not in here to just be with you and toss your heart back and forth. And that happens too much. And so when people believe their way is the right way, and it's not our way. It's the biblical way. We say the better biblical way, not the right way. I mean, it is the right. Come on, somebody.
The right.
It's the right way. My God, but it ain't our way, right? But my God, it's a good way.
Right.
Come on, somebody.
Right.
So another one is very secretive, right? That's a sign that someone is more prone to committing adultery.
There's a lot.
They're very
of
secretive. Very secretive.
I don't need nobody in my business.
I think recently somebody asked you about. Oh, they asked why did Judah have the passcode? I think it was our nephew asked like, why does Judah have the passcode to my cell phone or something like that? And you said, well, we're family.
I did.
Right.
To the iPad. Why do our kids know our passcode?
Why their kids? I got nothing to hide. Like there's nothing on my device or my iPad or my computer or whatever that my kids can't just go into.
Or me.
Or you, yeah. So, it's like, where's your phone? My wife has it.
Yeah,
my
but even some spouses don't like have spouses.
Yeah, don't have access to nothing or anything, and it's
different
just
bank accounts.
They don't
know how much their spouse makes.
Yeah, how you not know how much your spouse makes, and how do you not know what they do for a living? How do you not know where they live? How do you? And this is the thing.
I mean, that's
In courtship, they're friends. Y'all know where your friends live. You know what your friends do for a living. Some of y'all know what your friends make. So when you talk about dating, there's the leeway to have secrecy.
It's 9:30.
I know, right? There's the leeway to have secrecy, right? We're almost finished.
But I mean that could be a whole.
That's a whole other secrets. But
secrets.
We got two more guys, and we'll be. It should be a broadcast. Out your way. Number 6. We did 5. Number 6. Threatening to end the relationship. Every time there's a disagreement, I'm out. It's over. I'm done. Right? That's
so.
That's a sign that someone is more prone to adultery, right? They're willing to throw the friendship away, throw the relationship away over a disagreement. Yeah. When you have real friends in your life, y'all go through everything. You never talking about, this friendship is over. You ride with them.
Yeah.
You know, you walk with them through every season. So that's a sign that someone's more prone to adultery. If in a moment's notice, they're really just relationship is over, right? And the last one is
going on autopilot.
Going on autopilot is simply making no effort to grow or strengthen a relationship.
That's good.
If you have people in your life, right, especially people of the opposite sex that you may have some attraction to, that you may be thinking about courting, that you even may be dating, right? If they're not willing to grow or change or do things different, right, that's a sign that person is more prone to cheat or commit adultery, because they're like, look, there's like, why do I need to change? Like, I am who I am. This is who I am.
I don't need no counseling.
I don't need to change. I don't need no counseling. I don't need no therapy. I don't need no pastor in my business. I don't need to go to church. We good. Nothing needs to change. Yada yada yada. And all these different signs that they're letting you know, look, the unwillingness to grow, the unwillingness to change. This is just what we do. There's nothing going to be different. I could care less how you feel. That's a person that they're just going to do them. Right. And that unwillingness is a telltale sign that they're most likely to step out on you and cheat, you know, because the world sets a system up where cheating is possible.
Yeah.
But, So, guys, we appreciate you guys.
We sure do.
Thank you all for tuning in. It's been a blessing. Remember, guys, there is a better biblical way, the way of courtship. Don't forget to like this video, share this video, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Subscribe to us. I always forget Facebook. I'm on Facebook, right? Subscribe to us on YouTube. Once again, guys, our book is coming out soon. We're not releasing the title of the book or anything like that. Once we get some things finalized, we'll let you know all that good stuff. We are continuing to go on tour. Keep us in your prayer. If you want Kingdom Courtship to come to your church or come to your ministry, inbox us. Real simple. Or you can email us, kingdomcourtship@gmail.com. You can even book us through Facebook. You go to our Facebook page, you can book us. We'll come out as the Lord leads and do what we need to do to give God the glory. So appreciate you guys. Yep. And we'll see you guys next week.
Yep. Bye-bye.